Today what I'm going to be doing is embellishing this sketchbook cover. With this size sketchbook, you can either have it that way round or going up and down. Now I've got two of these, so this one I'm going to have going this way to do little sketches in that I like to do, and I sit there and doodle in them at night, and then I keep them because it's nice to have a look through them. I'm going to be using lots of different things. I'm going to be using paper mache, I'm going to definitely some paint, and I'm going to be using this modelling clay inside these moulds that I've got. Now I normally use these for my resin work, but you know, why just keep them for resin? I'll give them a good clean afterwards, and then I'll use them for resin again. This is air dry modelling clay. I'm not going to need too much of it, and as long as you seal it up nicely afterwards, then you can get quite a long life out of it, and you don't have to use it all at once. And the great thing about this one is it's white and very fine. It's almost like porcelain. All I do is I take a chunk off like this, work it around in my hands, I'll get my mould, and then I'll push it just to make the mould like that. Now I want to get the back as flat as possible so that I don't have to do too much sanding to it, and then I will take it out of the mould because I find it will dry a lot easier by being out of the mould. And that's just a piece of pipe. I'm going to go ahead and put all these together, and then I'll show you what they look like when I've got them out of the mould. And I'm also going to make probably just a couple of little cogs and things as well. All my little pipe bits are dry now, so they're ready to go on. But the next stage is, for me, I want to cover this cover in some paper mache, but I want to make sure that I keep these pages really clean and that no glue gets on those. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pop, I've kept them together with the band that comes with it, and I'm going to pop a plastic bag over it up to that edge, and then cover this whole cover up to really where it folds over. And again, I'm going to be using my brown paper. I have a box of it that's already cut up. PVA glue mixed in with a little bit of water, and I'll pop that on there like so. And then I'll put the paper onto there, go over that as well. And then put it on the inside, because I do want it to be all the way on the inside. And then when I shut this up, it should fall onto that, and any drips will also fall onto that. So I've got quite a few bits and pieces that I want to do to this book before I paint it. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off, and then I'll come back when this is dry. This is dry now. It worked a treat putting the little bag on, and I need things like that because I know how messy I am. Now, as I said, I'm having this book open this way, and I want to put some of these bits onto it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomly pop some of these on. I'm happy with the placement that I've got there, and I've left a section out in the middle. I may put something else there, or I may put a little plaque there to mark what it is, it's a book or whatever, but I haven't really decided that yet. And now what I'm going to use is an all-purpose glue to glue these on with, rather than the wood glue. It'll give a much better stick because this is porous, and I don't want the wood glue just to soak into the items and then never stick down properly. This clay is very porous. You could use a hot glue gun if you wanted to use a hot glue gun. I like this glue for a lot of things because it allows you to move it around still after about 10-15 minutes, and you do get a very good seal with it. I will list everything that I've used today in the description below, so don't worry, you'll be able to get hold of everything. Nothing here is expensive either. But that's them all glued on. I'm not going to be able to get back to this now until tomorrow, so I might as well leave it overnight before I do the next bit. These bits have all dried up nicely now, and they're in there nice and firm. So I've decided I want to put something like a bit of corrugated metal in here. So I'm going to be using the corrugated bit of this. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut or rip the bit that I want first, so it's easy to get the shape that I want to fit in there, because it's not so easy to do it once you start to take the packaging off. And this is just another piece of old box that I've got. Well, that's far too big and not really a good shape. Yeah, that should be okay there, like that. And how I'm going to get this bit off is I'm going to give it a quick spray with a little bit of water. Don't flood it, and let that soak in for a minute or two, and then it should just peel off. I'm going to pull it off, and if you pull it off gently, and that's why I like to use the cocktail stick, then it helps you to hold it down without crushing any of these corrugated bits. If there's a bit that's difficult, like that bit there, you can just go back in and pull it, and you can neaten it all up. Now you don't need to wait to glue this in because it's only water on there. I'm going to give this a quick glue, and then that will stick nicely on there once that's dry. If you want to speed up the drying, then you can just pop over it with a hairdryer. And that should sit there nicely. I'm just going to press that down in between each of the grooves to make sure there's a really good contact there, using this little kebab stick. I'm going to go over the top of it, and then I'll let that dry. This is all dried nicely now, and it's all nice and firm. So I'm going to go over it with some black acrylic paint. I'm using the Arteza paints, as I absolutely love the Arteza paint, and give it all a really good coat. I may give it 2 coats of this just to give it a nice solid base, getting into everywhere. And that will allow me then to do some painting methods on it to give it a bit of character. I'm ready to finish this off now. What I'm going to be using is a dry brushing technique over it, and I've got a fairly new brush that's got bristles that are quite soft and nicely spread out. The first colour that I'm going to go for is a bronze, and I'm going to use a mixture of several metallic paints to do this. I just think it will highlight it a little bit more. So you just need a little bit of paint first, work that into your brush. And this is quite a springy brush, which is really useful. And then knock most of that off, and then you can go over it. And already you can see how that kind of brings that to life just by those few little strokes. And having the black background really does help that, I think. And then all I'm going to do is pop a little tiny bit of silver on it. And I'm going to knock that back even further on the brush. I'm not going to rinse my brush out because I don't want my brush to be wet. And also I don't mind if it does pick up a little bit of that like coppery bronze colour. So most of that is knocked out. And I'm going through it. And what that'll do is that'll pick up and give it a few extra little highlights, but without seeing too much of the silver. Pick that up really quite well. I think that looks great now. And then the inside cover, I'm going to give a little bit of a brush over. Now this hasn't got much texture in it at all, only the texture of the paper. Just a little bit of kind of texturing with the paint will blend that in nicely. And I always find less is more when you're doing this sort of thing as well, meaning don't overdo it. But if you want a bit more on certain areas, then you can put that on as well. So let this dry, and then I will go over it with a satin varnish. I'm not going to put any more sparkle on it, which is very unlike me. And then I'll show you what it looks like when it's completely finished. This is all nice and dry now, and I'm going to pop over it with my satin varnish. Now, I probably will give it 2 thin coats of this satin varnish rather than 1 thick coat, because I feel that that gives it a lot better protection. This won't come out shiny, as I said, it'll be just a satin finish. And I think that's enough for these bits. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my future makes and videos. And please hit that thumbs up, it really does help my video to get out there, and it really does make me smile and happy. And share this video as well if you can. Again, that helps a great deal. I'm trying to build this channel up to get to 10,000 subscribers on it, and your help is much appreciated. That's all finished now and nice and dry, and as you can see it's got that nice satin coat on it, and I think that finishes it off nicely, and I like the way it's been finished off inside. And using that bag trick really does help you to keep the rest of the pages and everything nice and clean, which is very unlike me, because normally I slop and slap everything everywhere. I'm a bit messy. Take care. Enjoy your crafting. Hope you've enjoyed this project and you're going to have a go at it. If so, then post some pictures on my The Wonderful World of Resin and Other Crafts Facebook page. Bye.